On this episode of Bum with the Wrench, we're moving the shop. I wasn't sure if I was going to do any kind of video, me doing this, because honestly, it's not easy. I reached out to one of my good friends and asked him, hey, you know, what do you think about working for a couple months, helping me move this shop? And he worked for me before, actually, here at this shop. His office was next to mine. And he said, yeah, no, it's, you know, I got nothing going on right now. I'm more than happy to come back, get a couple months worth of work and help you move the shop. So when we do, once we've got the new shop, which we do, the contracts have been signed and all that kind of stuff. Well, basically we're waiting for the insurance to kick in, and at that point we can go ahead and start moving things over there. In preparation for that, I've gotten a lot of the cars just kind of put together. So let's walk around and let me show you, you know, basically what it takes to move a shop like this. So we'll start over here with the Camaro, because everybody knows the Camaro. Been working on the Camaro. You know, love this car. Look how good it looks. Let me move this ugly trash can. Look how good this thing looks. Look at this stance. Man, that thing looks good. Such a beautiful car. I love this car. But in preparation, like I said, closed it up, packed it up with all of its parts. Actually have the seats in it. They're not completely bolted in, they're just sitting in there. These are actually the seat brackets. But basically loaded all of the parts for this car in the car. So you can see the trunk is packed absolutely full. This is the little rubber flap out of the 7-liter, but I thought, hey, you know what, that's a good spot for it. It's not going to go anywhere. So, but other than that, that's all the parts for this car packed in the car. So that's what we've been doing, kind of going around. It's a good way to keep all of the parts for this car with the car. That way later on, I'm not scurrying trying to search for all the parts that actually go with this car. So did the same for other projects. We'll get to this one here in a second, but so the 7-liter, everybody knows the 7-liter. This thing's been on the channel quite a few times. I don't want to hurry to try and put this car back together. I like to do things, you know, correct, and you know, so taking it slow and doing it right. But the same thing with this car. Put the seats back in it. They're not bolted in, they're just sitting in it. But basically packed everything up so everything travels very easily and safely. So again, on this car, just tons of stuff. This trunk is massive. And I've got it basically full. All the parts that are in this car are for this car. And it is absolutely packed full. So got the S2000, actually opened it up, fired it up the other day to make sure that this car runs. It does. It started right up. So happy about that. I've always kind of battled with the battery on this car. I always keep them on tenders, but this car, just because I think the battery's so small, it likes to just eat batteries. But it fired right up, so I'm really happy with this car. It does have a what kind of battery is that? It's got a Duracell in it. Check that out. Yep, that's how you keep your toys and your S2000 running. Right there, Duracell. Anyways, that one starts. Made sure the S2000 starts and runs. Of course, the Fox body. This thing started up just fine, ran just fine. So this one, the trunk's not very big on this one. Plus, I don't really have any parts for this car. So there's really nothing in it. You know, I might utilize the trunk for a few things, but not much. Now, you can see I got the, you know, the Carolina squat going on my 65 hardtop, because basically I've done the same thing with this car. All the parts that I have for the car are in the trunk. Not all of them. I do have a lot of parts for this car that aren't in it. But those are the, like the new headliner and the door panels and the carpet and the steering wheel and the dash pads and, you know, all of that kind of stuff that's real sensitive is not in the car. I'm gonna transport that separately. But I do have things like the Jeep. You know, I can put a few things in the back of this one. The owner of the blue 7-liter, I think, is gonna come pick that car up. So that's pretty cool. I told him it's not a big deal, but I think it's better if he picks it up. So he's gonna come pick it up, take it home. That's safer for that car. Plus it makes one less car for me to have to move around. Very soon, I am going to be getting up to get that one down. 64 El Camino. That one's after we finish up the Camaro, we're going to this car. While all along, you know, taking care of the 7-liter as well. But, you know, that El Camino, I can't wait to get to that car. So, but, yeah, I'm sure you guys have all seen the 57 Chevy that I've got. It's a 210 wagon up there. It's actually, when I bought it, they called it a Pro Street. It's not. It has had a 383 stroker in it, 700 R4, built with a manual valve body, blah, blah, blah. Really, you know, good drivetrain, but this was the frame of the car. So I didn't realize how bad the frame was until after I got the car. You can see just how home built the frame on this car is. Now, I've gone back and forth, not sure exactly what I'm going to do with this thing. I've cleaned it up a lot, welded a lot on this frame, did a lot of trying to repair it kind of stuff. I think for a while, this is the way the frame's going to be. I think ultimately in the end on that car, I'd really like to do a tube frame. Nice lowered, kind of get that Boyd Coddington kind of look out of the car. But I don't know, we'll see how it goes. But right now, I already rebuilt 2 of the control arms. So right now we're rebuilding the other 2. And then we're gonna put the front end back on this car. I put the new steering gearbox on it. And then I have all new steering components. All that's gonna go under. Basically what I wanted to do is roll and steer and be complete enough that we can push the car around instead of having to deal with a frame and a body and all that kind of stuff. So, so that's what we're doing. Now I'm sure you guys have seen this motor in the background. This is the motor for the 57 Chevy. It's a 383 stroker that I went ahead and redid a lot of stuff on. It's got gear drive in it now. It's got a Edelbrock Performer RPM. I took a Weiand single plane manifold off of it and I put a dual plane Edelbrock on there because I want it to be a little bit more street friendly. Got a nice carburetor, ignition, all that kind of stuff. This serpentine belt kit is from Vintage Air. It's called their Front Runner kit. Love that kit. It works really well. It looks good. It's not all crazy looking. Of course, it comes all chrome or polished or however you want it. I figured with that car, with the 57 Chevy, I'm trying to build like a 90s kind of hot rod out of it. So I figured that's it's a good kind of look. That car's a lot of chrome and that kind of stuff. The power brake booster's up there on the shelf for it. All of this crap here is on the shelf is for that car. So the plan is to get that thing pushable with its suspension and steering. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop the motor and trans, which the transmission is this 700 R4 over here. That's got to go back into the car. We took this apart, made sure it's all good. Everything's fine with it. It's got a manual valve body, like I said. And then we're going to put that back in the frame. I don't have a cross member for that car. I just ordered one for the transmission cross member. So Monday, that stuff will show up. And then we're going to put the front suspension, drop the motor and trans, like I said, fab up the cross member that's coming in. It's like a universal. And then we'll set the body back on the car, on the frame. And then that one will be good. Then we'll package up all of its parts. It's got a few parts over here on the shelf for it. Most of the parts are up here on the rack up there. The seats, the chrome, the trim. But like I said, some of it's over here on the shelf. I'll pack it all into the car itself. and make sure the car is all nice and full. All the glass is actually up in the attic, so I'll have to get the glass down. I know the windshield's over there for it. So that kind of stuff we want to be careful with, obviously. But yeah, really we've broke it down to just what's left here. Now, obviously, I've got my tools, I've got all the supplies and tools and that kind of stuff. All that's going to move as well. But basically, this is what's left. I mean, besides just, you know, random stuff, the blower motors and the cabinet, of course, took all the spray paints and all of the, you know, all the stuff out. But put it in boxes, get it ready to move. And then of course what I did was I just called up a local pallet supply company, $15 a pallet, ordered 2 dozen pallets. I want to palletize all the parts, all the spray paints, all the stuff, wrap it up in some shrink wrap. And the new building is about 10 minutes from here. So it's a quick, easy trip. We'll just put the pallets on the forklift and then put those onto the trailer. And then when we get to the new building, forklift them off the trailer, put them in the new building, and away we go. So obviously the big items that are going to be a little bit harder to move are the tire machines, the compressor. I have a hoist guy coming in to disassemble the hoists, the stackers, and everything. And then basically what he's going to do is he's going to come back, he's going to move them to the next location, and then he's going to come back at a later date and reassemble them in the new location. Let me put you guys down here for a second. So that's the plan. I figure, you know, how many people have actually moved an 8,000 square foot shop before? It's not fun, I'll tell you that much. It's very stressful, very overwhelming, but you know, I give a lot of thanks to my good friend Jason for coming in and helping me tackle this. Because by myself, it is extremely overwhelming to where you just feel like there's no way. 2 months, I can't do this, you know. But, you know, just like he said, you know, just one bite at a time. You know, you just pick something, start working on it. And that's what we've done for the last, you know, 4 days. So, you know, we're doing good. Monday we'll get this thing hopefully buttoned up and the body back on it, and that'll be one more thing done, and then we can start loading the body up with all of its parts. That one I got to be really careful with because all the chrome's been done. It's already re-chromed and everything's nice and pretty. Although it has been sitting up there, I can't remember if we covered it or not, so it's probably dusty. But I have all the trim for the side of it. I have all of the. Gotta be careful with all that stuff. So, and then you'll notice there was a Volkswagen. I have a Volkswagen Bug up there. It's a 68, I think. We put a decent sized motor in. It's got like an 18 or 1900 something. I don't know. Can't remember. It was a turnkey motor. I wasn't expecting much out of it, but when we put it in the car and fired it up, that thing is so much fun. Motor runs so good. So that car just needs a transmission, wiring, and a bunch of work as well. But someday I'll get to that one. About the time I get to finish the 57 is about the time I'll be working on the Volkswagen, I think. But yeah, everything's coming along really well. There's still so much to do. I have so much to move. But, you know, one bite at a time. So that's where I'm at as of right now. I think the next clip you're gonna see, at least of this situation, is not gonna be for a couple weeks. My plan is to kind of get you guys, and then as each car comes out and goes on the trailer, I'm gonna record that. And so you can kind of see a parade of the cars. Some of them don't run, like the Camaro, the 7-liter, the El Camino, the 57. Those don't run. So those will go onto the trailer and be trailered over there. Things like my 65 hardtop, that runs, the Fox body runs, S2000 runs, 124 Spider runs, Jeep runs, Volkswagen runs. All these things are registered, insured, and legal to drive on the street. So the ones that run, we're gonna drive over there. The ones that don't run, of course, we're gonna have to trailer them over there. But I figured that would be a cool kind of video clip. You can see, you get a really good look at all of the cars, especially that one, because I haven't seen that car in at least a year. I know what it looks like. I know the car, and some of the pictures are on my website if you want to check it out, bumwithawrench.com. It's poorly put together, but there are pictures and stuff on there, so you can check that out if you want. But I figured that would be cool, just to have that parade of cars leaving the shop, going to that next shop, and getting everything set up that way. So pretty excited about the future of the shop. I definitely know we're moving in the right direction, even though it is stressful. We kind of knew for a while now that we were going to have to move the shop to another state. We just didn't know where. We still don't know where. So right now we're just doing what we didn't want to do, and we're going to have to move it twice. Once to this temporary location that we're leasing for 2 years. And in that time, in that 2-year span, odds are, like if I had to guess right now, I would say probably odds are we're going to find a piece of land and build a purpose-built building that perfectly does our needs. It is possible that we just go buy a building and set it up again like this one. Of course, now we know things that we like and dislike. But I honestly, I really see the future. We're probably going to end up buying a piece of land and then just building a building from scratch that has everything you need. Honestly, what I really kind of wanted out of a situation like this was underground parking. That solves a lot of issues, underground parking. I don't know if that's something we're going to put in the future, but you never know what the future holds. So, but thanks for coming along with me on this journey. Again, so stressed out, but I think it's going to be kind of cool to see the cars go. So anyways, enough of me talking. Let's cut to the cars moving out of the building and into that new building. All right, guys, give me a few days. I'll see you soon. All right, so it's been a couple days. This is, I don't know, Tuesday. Still don't have a 100% confirmation on when we can move in. The building we got, everything's fine. Just can't move in until we have insurance, obviously, set. So just waiting for the insurance company to do their thing. And then once we have that, then the owner will, landlord of the new property, he'll give us a move-in date. So, with everything going on, like last video, I was showing you guys all the cars are packed and that kind of stuff. Immediately after packing all the cars and all the stuff, turned to the 57. So I think you saw in the last video, I had the frame in here just sitting on the jack stands and stuff. In 2 days' time, built the front end complete and dropped the motor back in it. Whoever built the chassis on this car had a really bad transmission cross member. It was just a bunch of, I think it was square tube that they just cut and hacked, and the thing was crooked, and it was just a mess, really is what it was. So just ordered a universal cross member. So now we're just setting that. Really, that's where we're at right now with this. Is today just going to set that cross member. But in order to do that, need to get the make sure that the transmission is on the right angle with the rear end and also centered on the rear end. So I'm going to drop a laser down the transmission to center it with the rear end, and then get my angle finder out and make sure that the angles from the transmission output to the pinion input is the angles are right. So that way we can test and make sure that the angle on the drive shaft is good. You know, if you just weld it up and your transmission's sitting like this and your axle's over here and the angles are all like this, then your drive shaft is trying to come out, turn, you know, and go back in on unknown angles. This part's very important. So, yeah, so that's where we're at on this. Really, that's about it with this car. Once the transmission is set, this car needs a lot of work, obviously. But once the transmission is set, I'll throw the drive shaft back in it. And today we're going to get the body down off the hoist. And then again, once this is set, we're just going to drop the body on it and then load the body with all of its parts, bits and pieces. I have all the chrome, I have all the trim, I have all the glass, I have all the interior, I have everything for this car. Well, maybe not everything, but I got a lot of stuff for this car. But the car needs a lot of work. Not super impressed with the chassis on this car. Let me get you off the stand here and I'll kind of give you a quick tour of this mess of a frame. So it starts in the front as, you know, your typical 57 Chevy frame. Everything up here is all pretty much standard 57 Chevy. All of the ball joints and stuff that I ordered and bushings and all that stuff is all 57 Chevy. It all bolts right up to the frame. Everything's fine, including the power steering gear. This originally, when we bought the car, had a manual steering gearbox. You know, with this beautiful Vintage Air Front Runner kit. I love it for the Chevys. They look so good. It has power steering, so you know, I wanted to go ahead and add power steering to this build. So I bought the power steering gearbox, and then I do have all brand new tie rod ends and links and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But honestly, like I said, we're just trying to get this car into a rolling condition, so that we can set the body on it, put all the stuff in it, and then you know, move it to the next location. We did change the tires, of course. There's the old tires. Those tires are super old. I think they were like 2004 or something like that. Super hard. So these tires were easy to find. These back tires, I'm still struggling to find tires for this thing. But honestly, I don't want to keep this as a tubbed out 210 wagon. I would love to just kind of, well, really what I'd love to do future is do a tube frame chassis, and then do some nice like 18-inch wheels or something like that on it. Kind of build a throwback to the 90s, you know, late 90s kind of hot rod builds. That's kind of how I set the motor up. I didn't really do anything to the motor on this car. It ran really good. It's a 383 stroker. It did have a YN single plane intake on it, so I changed it to an Edelbrock dual plane. One, because Edelbrock dual plane is just a little bit, it's cost effective, meaning it's cheap. And then also, the dual plane is going to make it a little bit more street friendly. Single planes, you know, struggle when you're just trying to cruise it around on the street. They're great for drag racing. This is called a pro street. It's nothing. No. You can't chop up a frame. Look how bad this thing is. Can't chop up a frame, you know, put some tubbed out wheels on it and call it pro street. That's not the way that works. So, I mean, you got this piece here, you know, and that piece over there holding this whole back together. So when you step on this thing, it just flexes. It flexes all in here. I could do some bracing. I mean, they do have these little braces in here, like that's supposed to do anything. I did get a drive shaft hoop, hoping that if I connected these parts of the frame here, then it would, you know, kind of bend less. You know, I don't know. So eventually, what I'd like to do with this car is just do a tube frame chassis from like Chassis Works or something, and just be done with it. So this is how the fuel cell in the back was actually mounted. As you can see, it's just literally sitting on the frame. Like, I didn't do anything with this. All I did was take the body off the frame. I didn't touch any of that. It's just sitting there. And then you can see these awesome mounts for the shocks. And if you look real close, you can see it came down and smashed that brake line. So, you know me and brake lines. And this car is really bad when it comes to brake lines. So, of course, this is the battery tray, in case you guys were wondering. Look at all the booger welds. Gigantic. Gigantic angle iron. Just, I mean, this thing's got to weigh 50 pounds just hold the battery in the car. So, obviously not going to run that. So this thing still needs quite a bit of work. When I bought the car, I didn't realize what was underneath of the body. The body itself is in pretty good shape. It's not bad. I'm probably going to redo all the body work on it and repaint it. One, I don't like it yellow, and two, a lot of the filler and stuff that they used, which apparently was a lot, is cracking. So it really needs some body work. It needs a lot. So, but just like any other car in the shop, I'm taking my time with this one, and I'm gonna build a really nice hot rod out of it. I mean, who doesn't love a 57 Chevy wagon, you know? Two-door wagon. So it's a great car to start with. The guy that built it originally, he loved the car, and that's what it's really about. It's not about, you know, doing things perfect or making things, you know, whatever. It's what one guy thinks is right and another guy thinks is right, but obviously this back here is just wrong. I mean, I wouldn't want to put my family in the car and drive with this. That's just not even safe, honestly. I could do something to fix it, but really it's just kind of a mess. So for now, it'll hold the motor, hold the trans, do all that kind of stuff. I'll investigate later on what I could do to possibly fix this or just change the frame, because that would be a really cool car in the end. Just to have a nice tube frame chassis sitting nice and low to the ground, 18-inch wheels, nice motor trans, 700R4 with a manual shift kit in it. So automatic transmission that you have to manually shift. Set up to be race, which honestly, if I went tube frame chassis, I would keep a 700R4 because this motor probably makes somewhere around, I don't know, if I had to guess 450, 500. I don't know, it will spin those tires all day long. I left big old tree trunks down the street with this car. But this is not, the manual shift 700R4, it's just not cruise car friendly, you know. In my opinion, it should have been something, the 700R4 is fine. Do a nice TCI Street Fighter with a shift kit, that kind of stuff, make it snappy shifts and whatnot, that'd be great. But manual shift, it's just a pain. It had a low car shifter in it too, one of those stupid sticks that stuck up with the aluminum little, you know, push button on the center at the top. You know, it was hard to drive really. And then manual steering, it does have power brakes, although I'd have a whole new brake system for it. Booster, master, all of that kind of stuff. So this car's gonna get built right. When I took the motor apart, I put a new oil pan on it because it was really cheap and leaking. The valve covers were just trashed from years of sitting there with around moisture. The car was covered in a tarp and then a car cover. So some of the paint is worn on the edges. And everything just really needed to be freshened up. When I did it, keeping that 90s, late 90s kind of theme for this car, I went ahead and put gear drive in the front. I thought that'd be cool, kind of throwback to, you know, the burger stand, hot rods and stuff that would show up with, you know, gear drive and whatnot. So I don't know if I'll keep it, but I haven't even ran this motor since I did all this stuff. So we'll see how loud and annoying it is. But if it is, then I'll just pull the front cover back off it, put a chain on it. But just trying to have fun with this one. Really just, you know, like I said, kind of throwback to the late 90s Boyd Coddington kind of days. So, but yeah, it's coming along really good. We'll get the body on it today, and then start loading it down with its parts. And really, once that one's done, the next one to come off the hoist, and the next one I'm going to show you guys is that 64 El Camino. Super excited about that car. Love that car. That's my high school dream car. And I have most of the shelves over here packed with parts for that car. Because like I said, that was the car. If I could have had any car in high school, it would have been that. That or a Nova. But honestly, I think I would have taken that over a Nova. 396 car. I did multi-port fuel injection on it. It is an oval port cylinder head, but it flowed so well. Someone did so much work to it. That car ran really good. So that's going to be a blast, and that's up next after the Camaro. Camaro's getting close to being done. A couple more months of hard work, and phase 1 on the Camaro will be done. I'll probably let it sit for a little bit before I start phase 2 and dig into this car a bit and get it a little bit more together. So that's the plan. That's where we're at. Next time you see me, we'll be pulling that down off the hoist, and you'll get to see this with the body sitting back on it. But, you know, looks like a 57 Chevy. So anyways, guys, I'll see you soon. All right, everybody. Got the 57 put together as much as I'm going to put it together for now. At least it's got to put the seats in it, put a lot of stuff in the back of it. There's still a lot more stuff that goes with this car that's pretty sensitive, like this long box over here. Those are the side pieces, a lot of side trim and that kind of stuff that's real sensitive. That'll go in another shipment. I'm not going to put that in the car because it's just too sensitive. But the body's bolted down, suspension's all done, motor and trans is done, cross members in, drive shaft's back in it. This thing is very, very rough. It looks really cool, and that's really kind of what drugged me into this car, is how cool the car actually looks. I love the 57 Chevy. I think they're fantastic vehicles. They make really good hot rods and stuff. This one's going to be a lot of work. Initially when I bought it, I thought it was going to be a quick clean it up and flip it and make a couple bucks, because I got it at what I thought at the time was a decent price. It's a home built. It's about the best way to put it. It needs quite a bit of work to get it up to the standards that it should be. Definitely should not be a pro street car. I think later on, when I get some time, you can see the nice, screws flying through the cowl there. I think when I get some time and I go to do this car, I think what it really needs is it needs a tube frame chassis. The chassis on this thing is a disaster. I was showing you guys that. It really is. None of the body mount locations on the frame match the actual car. We fought this car all day to try and get the body back on the frame. And in fact, one of the body mounts, the bolts aren't even in it because they didn't line up. There's nothing I can do. I was using a porta power to push the body around so that I could get the bolts in. Horrible stuff that I don't like doing. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do to get through it. So it does steer. The steering wheel works. Motor's in it. However, valve covers kiss the firewall just like they did before when the motor was in it. Whoever did the motor mounts in this thing, really, I don't think they put them in the right spot. Nothing really seems to quite jive. The frame's a disaster. So really what it needs is a tube frame. Then the body, again, is a home built, so it needs a lot of work. It needs a lot of work to kind of get it to that 90s hot rod, burger stand, cruise the family around with. As of right now, There's no way I would put my family in this car. Even if I were to clean it up and finish it, get it running and make it all fine. With the chassis the way it is, there's no way. I would never trust this car to put my family in it. Let alone have big old drag slicks in the back and some 383 stroker that makes a ton of power. This thing's a death trap. So, you know, eventually someday I'll get around to circling back on this car. It's worth the time and the effort and the money, I think. In the end, I think it'd be a really fun car to just throw the kids in and, you know, go cruise around, have a good time on a nice summer day. Everybody loves a 57 Chevy, but so that's where we're at with this thing. We finally got it together. I'll tell you, I was pulling my hair out. This car aggravates me every time I work on it just because of the poor quality and craftsmanship that actually went into putting this car together. Which is sad. I really thought it was built a lot better. But you know, you never know until you dig them apart and figure out what's going on with them, that you can really see, you know, what you need to do. Sometimes you just clean them up and you enjoy them. This car was definitely not that. So, but let me show you what else we got going on here at the shop. We're definitely getting closer to move day. So like I told you guys, the next time you see me, let me give you a walk around this thing real quick. The next time you see me, you know, we'll be pulling the 64 El Camino down, and we got it lowered down. See the back of this thing. I don't know why they changed the back deck lid like this. This thing is like 5,000 pounds too, by the way. If those things were to fail, it'd cut you in half. Unbelievably dangerous. Why did they undo the two-piece? I don't know. So honestly, what I would like to do is put it back the way it was supposed to be. Put the tailgate and the lift, you know, the back window lift up the way it's supposed to be. Really what I'd like to do is just kind of put this car back to the way it should be. Get rid of the drag slicks, redo the floor, put the wheel tubs and stuff back the way they should be, and make this into a really fun, like I said, just kind of cruiser. So I have a lot of parts for this car. It's just going to take a lot of effort. I put a lot of effort into the engine. This thing runs really, really good. So it's going to be nice when it fires back up, but that's not going to be for a long time. So this is one that the channel really hasn't seen. I absolutely love this car. This is my high school dream right here. Like if I could have had something in high school, it would have been this or a Nova. The 67 Nova was always, this and the 67 Nova, those two were my dream. So I absolutely love this car. 396, I'm doing fuel injection on it, of course, because we do fuel injection on everything around here. Of course the front end's off because it wouldn't be a car I'm working on if it actually had the front end on it, right? Seems to be the way things go these days. The car is super clean, super straight. Door needs to be adjusted. But, you know, the paint's really not in bad shape. The thing's all complete. It's in really good shape. You know, I mean, there's some little dings and stuff in the trim. I think I have new trim for this. The interior is really nice. It's just that Chevelle. I have the Dakota digital gauges and stuff for it. These are bucket seats out of a Chevy Tahoe or, I don't know, Ford, I don't know. They're out of something. But they're nice. They fit the car well. Color's all wrong, but, you know, not big on that whole red on red thing. But this one's going through a ground up, frame off, whatever you want to call it, restoration. So basically the front end's off of it because I have new everything. This has 70s full-size Chevrolet brakes on the front of it. I have all Wilwood. Knuckles, brakes. I have Hotchkiss tubular upper and lower control arms. This has some Flaming River BS steering rack on it. You know, steering racks are good, but on a car like this, you don't need a steering rack. The gearbox was just fine. This thing's never going to be a race car. gearbox is just fine. No reason to do this. This thing is ugly. It's in the way. It's, you know, it's a mess. You should have seen the steering shaft for this thing. I took it off. It was a joke. So I'm just gonna put the steering gear back on it. But I have all new suspension for the front end. QA1 shocks. I mean, it's everything. Everything that you could possibly want to put on it, I have in a box on those shelves over there. So 396 big block oval port heads. I was gonna change them to some like trick flow rectangle port, but honestly, when this thing ran, it ran so good that I kind of just wanted to see how it was, you know, like before we just go digging into this motor and really cranking out some power and making it, you know, wild and crazy. Like, let's just kind of see how it was, you know, see how it is. Throw some fuel injection on there because, you know, might as well make it run really good. Modern day fuel injection is just awesome. It's not like the old days of, you remember Holley, what was it called? I can't remember what the Holley fuel injection was back in the day that you always fought with. Kept trying to have to tune it. But anyways, this thing's cool. So in the back of it is a lot of its parts that we took off of it. The hood's back there, the bumper's back there. I think the fenders are on the inside of the bed. That gigantic box there in the back up against the wall, that's actually a 2-inch cowl inducted hood that I searched and searched and searched to find. It's like a SEMA quality hood. So the quality on that hood is unbelievable. It is so nice. So that was the plan with this. I want to do like a little cowl inducted hood, just a little 2-inch, you know, give it some hot rod look to it. And then basically go through this car, cut, grind, hack, make it perfect as far as all the fabrication goes. And then once everything's done, enjoy the car for a couple minutes and then strip it down into its parts, send it out for paint. Actually, I'll probably end up painting it. Paint the car, powder coat the frame, basically turn it into the quality that the Camaro is. Give it that same treatment, just over the top, really nice parts, but at the same time, it's going to be a driver. This car's going to get driven. It'll go to shows, it'll go to events, it'll go to, you know, cruise around on the weekends. It's not going to be a trailer queen or anything else like that. It's going to be loved on the same as the Camaro. Camaro's the same way. Even though it's going to get that $20,000 Art Morrison independent rear suspension in a car that costs way too much money already, it's still going to get driven. We're going to drive the wheels off this car. So that's the plan with it. Yeah, that's where the shop's at right now. Monday, because this is Friday, this car's going to come off the hoist. We're going to dig through all the parts, secure all the parts, box up what we need to box up, and start palletizing parts at that point. Same with the 57. I mean, you know, we had all the seats are done. They're all reskinned. I believe those are like S10 Blazer or something. I don't know what they're from. Chevy SS maybe, I don't know. This is like the back seat out of a S10 or something, I don't know. But we had them all reskinned. They're black leather with Alcantara, like gray Alcantara on the inside. You know, they're decent looking, so I don't know if it'll stay that way. But for now, that's what it is. So that's where we're at in the shop right now. I know it's been a little bit since I updated you guys on where we're at. You know, it's like I was saying, basically I'm super busy trying to move the shop. I've got all of the cars now in a spot where they're ready to move. The last one's that El Camino. So that'll take us a day or so to kind of button up and get ready to move, because it's got a lot of parts in the back of it. You just don't want to pull it, you know, and have all those parts grind into each other, especially the two fenders are back there. The hood's kind of sitting on top. It's, yeah, everything's safe right now, but the car's not, you know, jiggling going down the road on the back of a trailer. So we'll secure all the parts, make sure everything's good, and then that'll be it. All the cars will be finished, and then we'll start focusing on palletizing all the parts on the shelving over there, and then start breaking down the shelves, palletizing the shelving, basically getting ready to move. So that's the update. That's where we're at. It is nice to see this car back like this, I gotta tell you, even though this thing really just plucks the nerves. But it is nice to see it like this. I'm very happy to see that El Camino. I haven't seen that car in at least a year, maybe longer. And that one's next. Right after the Camaro's done, the El Camino's up next. So we're gonna have a lot of fun with that car. There's a lot of parts that are gonna go into that car. Like I was saying, all the suspension, everything else, you guys are gonna love that. I'm gonna love that. I've been really kind of, waiting to get to that car. Same like the Camaro, really trying to get to that one. And then of course we do still have the 7-liter. I am gonna be buttoning that thing up soon. I'm just gonna kind of do it on the side as we work along. That car really needs a lot of attention to detail and slow movement. It doesn't need, big things. So that one's just kind of gonna be on the side. I'll give you updates as it happens in the new shop, of course. So, but for now, guys, that's where we're at. That's the condition of the shop and where I'm at with the shop. So I'm gonna go ahead and end this episode here. When we start up that next episode, it's gonna be a parade of cars leaving the shop. I'm gonna film every one of them as they leave the shop, get on the trailer, and then dropped off at the new shop. So you'll see all the cars leaving this beautiful place and going into the next home where I'll live for the next couple years until we find a new place to live. So alrighty guys, as always, thank you guys for watching. You guys are awesome. I do apologize for how long it's taken to get this done and how long it's gonna take me to get each of these videos out, at least for the next month or so. I do apologize. I know when I start watching a channel, I like to see what's going on and the updates and that kind of stuff, but staying focused on this is important. But you guys are important to me too. So thank you guys. Thank all of you for watching. And as always, guys, until next time.